That'd be pretty funny though.
I'm not even sure this is English.
Never seen the movie with Seth Rogen and James Franco when they hang out with Kim Jong-un?
Can't say I have.
What's up, everybody? We've got some new tunes for you there. So it's the AR Soccer Show. We are back. Joey and AJ held down the fort last week while I'm away, so glad to be back with the fellas. We're in one of my favorite times of the year with the Champions League and the Europa League coming down. Got the chance at the extra silverware. Who's the best of Europe? Who's the second best of the shitty Europe competition that you qualified for because you weren't good enough in your league? So or you got relegated from the Champions League. Either way, that's what it is. So as usual, the AR Soccer Show is brought to you by thebreakdownsports.com. We got a lot of good content out there for you guys. We're live on Sportscaster, YouTube, and Facebook. So wherever you're there, give us a like or a follow. We always appreciate it. I'm Rex. What's up, AJ?
Dude, not much. Doing well. Like you said, happiest time of the year. European soccer's back. Hopefully see United get to the final and face Inter. That would be good, but we'll go ahead and preview that later.
Yeah, I think it would be a good rivalry between you two if they make the final, but I'm not so sure. Maybe it didn't look too hot coming in on Monday, but maybe it's just salty because the bet I had on them, but should be good soccer either way.
Yeah, we know how the last rivalry with me and you guys went with United and Wolves, so I'm just saying.
You're just saying what?
I mean, United.
I'm just fucking with you.
All good.
So, right before we jump into Champions League and Europa League, I got to shout out the MLS real quick. That ended over this past week because I know AJ always loves the MLS portion.
I almost forgot.
Portland took home the trophy over Orlando City. And last night, Nashville and DC played each other, the teams that were removed from the bubble. We got more matches this weekend. The full slate starts back up next week. So if you're an MLS head like I am, you got about 5 days of a break, even if that. So let's get into the Champions League, which you guys all came here for, which is barely a better product because I'll get into it in one of the match recaps. So first thing that we'll get into is Lyon versus Juventus. So Lyon loses the match, but they advance on aggregate due to away goals. Love to see that. So the result of that match got Sarri sacked, quote unquote. I kind of think it was a writing in there already. The only way he could have potentially saved his job is if he made it to the finals or potentially won. They brought in Pirlo, their old legend Italian great, to become the coach. Not going to drown on that right now, but Lyon played a gutsy game. I think they kind of got lucky, though, because they sat back very hard and a little too much for my liking. And when we get into the match review, that's where I'm going to be even more concerned about them and their upcoming fixture. But we had two very questionable penalty kicks given in this and VAR upheld both of them. And then later on in the match, when Lyon had a chance to tie it back up, there was no penalty kick given, or it was given and taken off due to VAR. So that match was heavily full of it. Juventus always seems like they get the better half of it, but they still won and got eliminated, so that makes my heart happy. Diablo did come in, and he had an injury, and he probably played for maybe 10 minutes and had to leave with that thigh injury again. So that's not good signs for Juventus because the Serie A does end up starting in, I think, a little bit over a month. So going to be interesting to see what goes there, but like to see Lyon go through. Not many people were giving them a chance because they've played, maybe one or two competitive matches in the past 3 or 4 months and didn't really look like it. Other than playing a little bit too much relaxed, they seem like they're almost in full groove.
And it's funny you mentioned it because I saw a lot of people on like Twitter and Reddit saying, oh, like the French league, because it's canceled, they'll come out rusty. The French teams have no shot in Champions League, and look who advanced. Both the French teams, right?
Yeah, I think PSG got a little lucky, but they did look a little rusty. But I think there's too much talent to like rust doesn't matter when you're have so many good players.
Yeah, so in the next match from the past week, we got City versus Madrid. So before we get into the result of this match of City winning, there was 2 terrible mistakes in Real Madrid's back line where they're trying to pass it through the back. And that's where I made my joke earlier about the MLS talent. If that would have happened in the MLS, everybody on Twitter would have been losing their fucking mind. But this is the top club in the world, or one of the top clubs in the world doing this. So even City looked a little bit shaky in the back too. So that was very strange to see. I mean, I understand the philosophy of building out of the back and retaining possession, but there's only so many times where you can make a pass from the left back to the keeper to the right back, because you saw them do that in 2 to 3 times in a row. And that's just because City was so pressed up high on them, gave them no angles in the middle, and knew that, hey, if you're just going to pass it in the back, there could be a potential mistake. And they made 2 blunders, which potentially cost them the match because they were in it other than those 2 mental mistakes. But you can't do that against City. They're going to make you pay for it. And we saw what happened.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate because our last stream you weren't here. I was hyping up Madrid's defense, talking about how strong they looked. That's why I took the under on this match. And then just the biggest game of the season for them, and they go ahead and make these mistakes, especially from Varane, who I think is world-class quality defender, and then he makes these mistakes.
Yeah, I think it's even though the players are still obviously good, they still have 2 good center backs even without Ramos out. But I think it shows their lack of leadership back there without Ramos. It's more than just his ability and skill. Probably just less confidence back there, and playing those passes like that, you have to be confident and know where you're going with them. So it is a bad time to have two terrible mistakes.
So real quick before we move into the next match, Sergio Ramos, was he a lead guitarist in a band, or was he showing you your table in a fancy ass restaurant?
Wait, what?
How many times they pan to him and him in that suit with the little vest on it? He looked like he was either the lead guitarist in the band, or he looked like he was a fancy waiter about to show you your table in a restaurant. In my opinion,
I definitely get those waiter vibes. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I would think more fancy waiter than guitarist. Maybe an indie rock band, maybe.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
yeah. I could see it.
Oh, that's great. But enough about Ramos. We had one other. I thought it was the match of the week. You had PSG versus Atalanta. Couple of hearts were broken for all the Serie A fans. Rex, who couldn't show up against, ultimately I think it's a disappointment to give up 2 late goals like that. But I think Neymar really showed how world class he was this match. Okay. His dribbling and his attacking prowess was, I think, on point. It was just those final touches, final shot, some selections in there that I was like, okay, Neymar really. I think PSG should have dominated, but Atalanta stayed in there, got their goal, and almost held on to the end.
Yeah, Atalanta, I think other than that early breakaway they gave to Neymar where he just fluffed it pretty terribly, MLS players probably would have finished that. But other than that, I think Atalanta hung with them tough. They're everyone's club that we've been talking about for the past few months, if not the entire season. Everyone finally caught on. It was strange because you kind of saw the rust on PSG a little bit, but then they kind of shook it off fast. But I still think Atalanta looked like I don't want to say better side, but for 90 minutes they were winning that game and were in control. But then they had those 2 terrible, I don't know even how it doesn't make it to extra time.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them gone further, but now they're out, and I'm going to be sad because there's no Italian team left. But I was happy about one leaving, sad about one leaving. So now Europa League's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I think Atalanta. I mean, they were the better team for 75 minutes. So it is heartbreaking, but that's why he played 90 minutes. I definitely feel for anybody who backed them, even on like people who probably backed them on like the +0.5. That's a worse beat in my opinion, obviously, than the money line. But because I don't know, you're going the whole game thinking you have it easy, and then 5 minutes is tipped on your head. But yeah, the last game we saw was played today between Red Bull and Atletico Madrid. I thought Atletico was going to win this. I thought the absence of Timo Werner was going to be too big. But it was just the first half was ugly. It was pretty boring to watch, bad football. But second half, I think kind of just with the early Leipzig goal or early in the second half, kind of opened it up. And I think it's interesting, like Madrid played defense. They played their style for the first 45, 50 minutes until they let up a goal, and they started attacking and they're creating chances and scoring. And like, it kind of strikes me as why did they not do that from the start? Like, I know they want to stick to their style and like stick to the game plan to some extent, but they're a better team than Leipzig, kind of top to bottom and talent wise. Why not just attack them? They have the players to do so. I think that was, from my point of view, like, yeah, you got to sit back against Barcelona and Real Madrid when you play them in La Liga, but you don't necessarily have to do that against against Leipzig. Again, it may just be a little salty, but yeah, I think I mean, Tyler Adams scored the goal to win the game, which is great for young American and for USA soccer fans. I'm sort of surprised they gave him the goal. I guess it was on target, but it was a little lucky deflection that put it in. But yeah, I mean, I did see this on Twitter, like the absence of Warner, it led who is their head coach?
The guy that loves wearing outfits that you can buy at Dick's.
Yeah, he had a suit on today, so I thought that was funny. Is Nagelsmann, I think? He, with how Werner, they're able to play to their style more, and I think you saw that today where Werner was playing. They'd feel like they'd force him the ball, but now with like Poulsen and some of the other strikers up there, they were able to kind of stick to their style, and I think that really helped them in this game. So sets up a good semifinal between Leipzig and PSG.
So here's where Diego Simeone was kind of just too stuck into what they've done time and time over again. Because when you're playing a high intensity pressing team, and I don't know if anyone plays a higher intense press than Leipzig does, why are you going to kind of play into their hand of sitting back and playing that style where, I mean, he just got to hope that his team's more talented and stronger in that style, and ours will win over yours. But I would have liked to, because to your point, once they fall that goal behind, and we were talking about this in our Slack channel, once they fall behind, it's going to be hard for Atletico to probably come back. But I was wrong, because once they fell behind, they looked much better and like a stronger team. So that's where maybe he had to do a little bit more thinking. I don't know. He gets paid millions. I get paid nothing to do this. So, but that's just where I was coming from, where you kind of played into Leipzig's hand a little bit more by sticking to what you know. And Leipzig practice that over and over again. Just imagine them coming out from the start and being like, nope, throwing everything out the door, doing something different. Would have liked to see what would have happened if they'd done that style for the full match. Yeah,
I think it was interesting. João Felix didn't start, and neither did Thomas Partey, who has been heavily linked to English teams. I actually don't know if Partey came in as a sub. I don't remember. But it was almost like they were playing for like a draw at 60 minutes, and then we're going to kind of go attack. So I think the goal in the second half kind of took them out of it. But I did see there was a comment, I think, earlier this week or maybe this morning or yesterday, that Oblak was like, we don't like have to score a goal if we never give up one, or we only need to score one goal if we don't give up any. And I think that was their game plan going into it. And once Leipzig scored, they had kind of had to abandon it.
So before we jump into the Europa League, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Mbappe did suiting up and playing for PSG. What do you guys think of that? Because I honestly think he looked like he was maybe at 65%, if that, because he was hobbling around on the field. But I mean, he's just going to draw defenders because he's Mbappe. He gained all that respect over the past 2 years. that where no matter what percent he's at, you kind of got to give him. But it almost seemed like a great decoy. But I'm almost more afraid that like they're lucky the Diablo thing didn't happen where you could potentially lose him for more time.
Yeah, I agree. Short term it worked out. PSG advances, but long term, your young stud, who I think is about 21, risk of re-injury. For me, it didn't make sense, but I mean, they win, they advance, and he's not hurt, so I guess it works out in the end.
Yeah, I think even when he got hurt, people were like, "There's no like." They ruled him out of the game immediately, and I think that like, when I was writing my article, I was under the impression of them he wasn't playing, and then I had to go back and been like, he's questionable or doubtful or may play. Like I feel like soccer injuries, you never know. But yeah, I think he definitely came in as a decoy. Definitely was not close to even 75%. But I think even just the like aura or the distraction of is he coming in or not, like that's definitely what some of those Atalanta defenders were thinking in the back of their minds, I'm sure.
All right, let's hop over to the Europa League. We'll give you the match recaps real quick. We won't spend as much time on them as we did there because we know you're all dying to get to the previews and our best bets coming up. So the best team left in the Europa competition won 2-1 in regulation. They didn't need the extra time. Barella and Lukaku got the goals. Havertz got one for Leverkusen. So the first 25 minutes was awesome. And then I just don't know what happened in this match. All the air got sucked out of it. Usually don't see Inter defend this well. Leverkusen can usually attack decently well. So that's where it gave me a little bit, maybe a false hope, or Conte's system worked a little bit better than Leverkusen's. Inter clearly just had the better talent. I think that's just what showed where Inter before this season was a team that sat back and didn't attack too much. And it seemed like they went back to their old habits for that final 75 minutes to make sure that they advance, but they did. So it's all good. And we get to play Shakhtar coming up.
Yeah, like you said, the match started out banging and then, I mean, just fizzled out. Sucks for everyone who sat on an over 3 because to push after, I think it was like 24, 27 minutes and not get that fourth goal has to be disappointing. But like you mentioned, Inter came up clutch by defending when they needed to and on to the next round.
Yeah, I thought I was seeing Ghost doing that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I took away like Inter had a comfortable win, but forget they only won 2-1. Like I don't know if I'm sure Leverkusen had some good chances at the end, but almost after they were up 2-0 and then 2-1, I just kind of assumed Inter was going to win the game, and then obviously they did. But I think it was probably closer than what I remembered.
Perfect. So we'll jump into the other, I guess one guy says his team's the best. The other guy's also going to say his team's the best.
Wrong.
We'll see in the final. I let my teams do talking. If I need to remind the viewers, you're a Wolves fan talking all this loud, but United finished above them on the table. So I just let my team
I don't
do
remember
talking.
who said they're a Wolves fan. Inter till I die.
I'm gonna have to go back and clip it. But regarding United, we did play. I think it's FC Copenhagen. I mean, got the job done in extra time. But for me, I was very excited this match, just because I mean all the players got the rest they needed, time to recover after a long Premier League, and then they come out a very slow, sluggish start. Copenhagen had some chances early on to nick a goal away from United, but I mean 0-0 up to 90 and scoring extra time is not necessarily how I want to go into the next round. But a victory is a victory, and I will take it.
Yeah, I thought like the first 30 minutes, man, you look super disinterested. Like they didn't want to be there to some extent. Like they, there's no like urgency behind them. They just were kind of there playing around. Yeah, I mean, another lost bet for me on this game. Had some chances. I think there's this first half was when they called the game or called the goal off for being offsides, which he was offsides. But I mean, it is. Yeah, I didn't like how Man U looked that game. I thought they dismantled Copenhagen, but I don't know. I guess that they advanced either way. So
yeah, it's strange. It's strange that you would say that your team looked better when Copenhagen's quite inferior talent than Leverkusen. So I'd be a little nervous heading into the next match.
All I know is some games where we talk about teams look horrible, they come out and play strong in the next match. Example, when we talk smack on Barcelona and then they come out and just wreck teams. So you guys could talk all the smack on United. So I'll take that momentum into the next match.
Yeah, I also have to make sure I take note of Rex immediately disowning the Wolves as one of his teams after they get knocked out of Europa. So, speaking of Wolves, they lost to Sevilla. A pretty terrible game to watch. Jimenez missed a penalty, which his first penalty missed with Wolves. And he loves doing the just kind of walk up to the ball and stutter and make the goalkeeper dive one way, but the goalie kind of did the same thing back, wiggled one way, went the other, and kind of threw Jimenez off. And I thought it was a great, not just a good stop, a good kind of counter to Jimenez's penalty taking style. But yeah, he missed that, and then since then it was Wolves played defense for 70 minutes, and it was a boring game to watch. Traore looked good in some instances, but I think Wolves, having played 50 plus games and having a 13-month-long season, finally caught up to him in this one. And I know I listened to some of the press conferences after Nuno said that was their game plan. They were going to defend. He knew his team was tired. They couldn't play a high intense style after the long season. And so they just went into it literally playing for extra time and maybe trying to get one goal at the end, but the one goal at the end went for Sevilla. I think Ocampos was a goal scorer, but it was a deserved win for Sevilla. But yeah, it's a little frustrating, but I think as a Wolves fan, definitely a good season. That kind of ended poorly, but all in all was a good second season in the Premier League for sure.
Yeah, hopefully not having Europa competition may help them going into next season in there, but that miss of the PK just completely changed the match. Nuno's style would have completely worked if they got that first goal and defend. But even though when you do that style, Sevilla just looked way more dominant than the Wolves did. So that's what was just a little bit concerning. My favorite part was the Spanish broadcaster making the race car sounds when
I forgot about that.
Traore was going pretty fast and drew the PK. So if you haven't seen that, find that on Twitter. It's always a good laugh.
Yeah. It's also I just had something to say. Sevilla are like the Wolves of La Liga. They do kind of sit back a lot, but they have a really dangerous counterattack. And obviously Sevilla was more on the attacking foot, and they eventually broke down Wolves. But it was basically two kind of mirror images of each other going up against one another.
And then the biggest route we had of the Europa competitions was Shakhtar just dominating Basel. Very interesting and fishy line from a gambling perspective, because Shakhtar was sitting around minus 110 to minus 15 at kickoff, and Basel's recent form was just pretty terrible. They scored one goal in their past 3 matches. They played their 5th competitive game, because the Swiss league is in flight right now and in the middle of it, in over 14 days. So 5 matches in 14 days is pretty terrible for your legs. And I just think the bookmakers were sleeping on that one. The public don't know either of these two teams. So if you follow the league pretty closely, the Shakhtar team just likes to score. People just don't know them because they're not a common team name, but they came out, looked much better, and they'll be going up against too strong of a side. But if they're playing a team in red, I would like their chances going into next round, but looks like they might be making an early exit.
Yeah, they started in the Champions League, so they definitely, they're the top Ukrainian side. They were in that, I think it was Man U or Man City, Atalanta, and the Zagreb group. And I think almost every one of their games had at least 3 goals or 3 or more goals. So they attack, and they only know one style of soccer is to try to score goals, basically. So
All right, AJ, kick us off with our Champions League previews. We got games a day, like Joey said earlier, which is the best part about this. So let's get into it.
Yeah, they come thick and fast. So tomorrow, August 14th, is the next Champions League match. So I think personally this might be the match of the tournament on paper pre-match. You have two giants in Bayern and Barcelona going at it. For me, and I have a play on this match later, so I'll dive a little deeper into it. But I just see the best team in Germany, and arguably I believe Bayern right now are the best team in the world. Their best 11 can match anyone's best 11. And from attacking their midfield defense and obviously one of the world's best keepers, I think everything tilts in their favor. But I did see an interesting quote from the Bayern CEO. I don't know if it was released today or yesterday. And I know if you watch the stream, all of us are huge on Alphonso Davies. But the Bayern CEO went out and said, Alphonso Davies will take care of Messi. Interpret that any way you want to. Essentially, he's saying Davies will handle Messi, which is a tall task for, I believe, Davies is 19 years old. So we'll see what side Messi lines up on and if Davies can handle him.
So I think Messi's going the Michael Jordan route. He printed that out on text, has it up in the locker room, and just use it as fuel. I love Davies. He's a solid left back. Everyone forgets, and I love to say this, that they recruited him to play forward, and they just saw how good he was and needed to get him on the field. So he might get caught because Davies is the wingback and loves to get up. So you don't want to get behind Messi. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think Alaba will also play center back on that side. I think at least the way they've lined up in the past. So I think both of them will look to shut him down. But I mean, it reminds me of obviously I was a swimmer growing up, and there was I think it was the 12-year reunion of the USA men beating the French men in the 4x100 relay. And the day before, the Alain Bernard was in the paper saying they were going to smash the Americans. So I do think the Barcelona motivation is going to be strong. Messi, I think, is probably a better leader than what a lot of people give him credit for, especially on the domestic side when he doesn't have a full country kind of looking at him and like forcing him to do certain things. So, yeah, I think I agree it's the best matchup in this round and may even be better than what we get in the semifinal. But I wrote in my article that it's the best team against the best player. I mean, Bayern, like AJ said, top to bottom, best team in the world, but Messi can kind of take over a game whenever he wants, and he does have the help of Suarez and Griezmann and De Jong. So he's got some pieces around him. It's just a matter of how much and how well Bayern can shut him down.
Yeah, so my biggest thing is when we've seen Bayern play the other top squads, even Chelsea is not a top squad. They're very on the fringe, but this defense is just unreal.
Yeah.
A lot of people sleep on it, but Barcelona's defense is going to just just has to perform as well as theirs. So everyone loves the over in this match. Wanted to go contrarian playing it under, but just given how both teams scored in all the 4 previous Champions League matches, that's just what the one thing that scared off. I don't know if that's recency bias and I need to kick that out of my brain, but interesting angle if you want to be super contrarian, which I like to play, is take the under. But if you're doing that, don't watch the match.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing. I think I almost played something involving goals in this game, but yeah, I could definitely see this being the over that everyone takes, but ends 1-0. So I think people are just like, oh, Barcelona's bad at defense and Bayern can score goals. But I think in my article I had said that I'd expected goals, but I don't know. I could definitely see it being a tighter affair than a lot of people imagine. And yeah, I guess next game, Man City and Lyon. I think this one should be a blowout. Lyon did look okay against Juventus, but City should handle their business in this one. They look the much stronger, more motivated side. Pep wants to win this tournament. And I think I was impressed with how they lined up against Real with Foden in the 9 spot with Jesus and Sterling in the wingers. I think that's a way better lineup for them. Kind of plays to Foden's strengths, and especially for Jesus and Sterling, who aren't necessarily goal scoring strikers. Like, they don't have that mentality. But yeah, Foden in the false 9 was definitely a good spot. In Lyon, I think they're kind of they were in a good spot against Juventus, and they had the advantage going in. And now going into a game where it starts 0-0, they're going to be on the back foot from the start, and I don't think they're going to be able to defend City for a full 90.
Yeah, if they go in with any bit of the same mentality that they go against the Juventus match, I know they are up, so you can't take it as much, but City's just going to punish them if they try to do it. So this is the one where I was going to talk about this in the best bets, but I'll just get it out now. This is a match I think you play live after 10 to 20 minutes if it's still scoreless. Hop on it then. The over 3 sitting at like minus 105, minus 110, given your book. But I mean, I think Lyon can score. I think it's Moussa Dembele's back now for them.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL in January or whatever, and he's already playing soccer again. So that's pretty crazy. And he's their guy. They need him in that lineup to score. When he's not in there, you saw them fall. I think they only qualified for Europa this past season, or didn't even make a spot in Ligue 1 because it ended early.
Yeah,
so that's where. Yeah, so they finished out of it without him. So he's their cog. He looked, I would say, fully fit in their last match. So if you like an anytime goal scorer, and if you want to play someone on Lyon, he's your guy you got to go to because he's the catalyst of that offense.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the over is a good bet. And if you want to wait just a little bit of time, catch that live, maybe the line will drop to 2.5. I mean, like you said, they score, City scores, and this is a goal match. But I have been seeing rumors that if Pep doesn't win Champions League this season, he could be on the hot seat for next season. So I think City have a lot of pressure riding on them. Just because Pep, the past couple seasons, hasn't been getting the results that City anticipated. Spending the money, bringing in big names, big coach, need results.
So next, since we record on Thursdays, we're going to hop into the semifinal that will happen before the next time we record. You got energy drink Leipzig versus PSG. That's on Tuesday. So this is it's a very interesting match. I don't want to compare Leipzig and Atalanta any capacity just because they play different styles, but I think Leipzig could give PSG issues potentially, but where I saw against PSG against Atalanta that might come in more prevalent into play against Leipzig is if they catch them on the counter, especially a pressing team, you're a lot more screwed than a type of Atalanta who builds up the attack and then just pummels you. This team is going to stay on top of you and hope you make a silly mistake. So, it's a match where the line I don't think has came out yet just because the previous match just ended. So whenever that drops, that's what I'm going to be interested to see. One of the three of us, maybe multiple of us might tweet out a play. So you should definitely follow us on Twitter to check us out to see if we end up adding anything into it. But I just think Leipzig could play a style that gives PSG trouble again. And now, given what they've seen, what Mbappe's up to, I don't think that decoy tactic could work as well. So I don't think he plays the next match, given how he is. So if you want to get a hot take from this, I don't think he should get in there because at this point you're just risking his long-term health, and the French nationals will not be happy if anything happens to him with the Euros coming up next summer.
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily have a good thought on what is going to happen in the game, but I think Leipzig would be a live dog here. Just on reiterating everything Rex said, but they now are the underdog of the semifinal, at least, no matter who makes it. I guess if Lyon makes it, but yeah, I think Leipzig kind of will have house money at this point and kind of no pressure and just playing for fun. I also think it would be funny just to like rub it in Werner's face that they advanced to the final without him. So
yeah, and I think Leipzig like being the underdog, so they don't mind this situation for them. But I think Rex mentioned it. I think the big thing for me is what is Mbappe's status? I talked about it last stream. PSG without Mbappe do not look that good. Without them, they're missing that pace up top. He draws defenders, everything like that. Obviously, when he came on for the Atalanta match, I mean, that changed the whole game. So it just depends what PSG does with him moving forward, and that's the angle that I'll be looking at for that match.
All right, let's hop over to the Europa League, where depending on the results of this match, we might have a virtual fist fight on the stream coming up next episode. So you got the first match is Inter Milan versus Shakhtar. So this has the makings of a highly offensive game where we could see both teams find the back of the net and we could see some goals. At the same time, if Inter dropped back into that style that they played for majority of the game against Leverkusen, and knowing that Shakhtar just likes to play the one-way attack, play into that and just take it where it is, that could happen. It's just at this point where you're deep into the season, Inter has the better quality on the roster. They need to show up and win this match. If not, it's going to be a lot of more rumors about Conte's future at the club, which I think is kind of ridiculous given how well and good we looked, and we've brought in players to play his style. But I think this is a sleeper match. The other match, Sevilla versus Man U, is definitely going to have more eyes on it. But if you want to see Lukaku and the Shakhtar whole team attacking, it's a match to watch.
yeah, I think my first question or first thought was like, which Inter do we get? Obviously, they've looked good in recent games, but they do have kind of issues at the back at some points, and they can let up goals. And I think Shakhtar is they have loaded with Brazilian players, so they're a ton of talented guys, and they seem to play their style well. But yeah, I think both AJ and I have a play on this game, and so I think Inter get it done, but it won't be a boring game. I don't think it should be a pretty entertaining game for sure.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. Entertaining match, and I think Joey B and I will touch on it a little bit when we get into best bets. But the other Europa League match is United versus Sevilla. That takes place on Sunday. For United, this is a revenge match. A couple years back under Jose Mourinho's reign, Sevilla played United in the Champions League, ended up winning and advancing to the next round. So United have the revenge angle. But I think the theme for both of the better teams in both of the matches is which side are we going to get. We see the United side that scores 5 goals a game, and then we see the United side that goes 90 minutes without scoring against Copenhagen. So it just depends which one comes out on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm interested in this match. I got a play coming up on this one. Joey B also has one coming up, so I think we'll dive into a little bit further there. It would be great to see Sevilla win, but I want Man U to win just because of the inner show rivalry to live on.
You said virtual fist fight, dude. I'm gonna fly to the East Coast and give you a little.
Dude, you can sleep on my couch all bloody. I think it wouldn't be fair. I think I got like at least 6 inches on you and probably like too many lbs. So that's where you got to ground and pound. All right,
man.
Time to get into the best part of our show. Our 3 favorites, best bets. We're a little bit of junkies in this. We watch all football across the world. So we got, with the Champions League going on, we got the little bit of the lower tier teams going in there. So I'm going to get a little bit more interesting this week. But to recap last week before we get there, I went 1-0-1, so I got a push with Lyon +1, and I got the dub with Orlando City beating Minnesota. I believe, beating Minnesota at +139. So I went 1-0-1 for +1.39 units and got that push.
Perfect. Yeah, for my recap, I had the City Madrid under, which was a half push, half win. The game ended on 3 goals. I had PSG Atalanta under 3. A very, very, very sad push. However, if you waited until closer to the game time, I believe the line moved up to 3.25. So you were able to get a half push, half win, but for the show's sake, I'm going to call it a full push. And I had Napoli Barcelona over 3 goals, which I believe cashed in the first half.
Yeah, I think I saw when I woke up with that PSG over, it was at 3.25 and moved back towards 3. So I think people were spot on with the line there. I did have my first negative week, I believe, since being on the show. I was 1-3 minus 2.2 units. My sole win was City Real Madrid, both teams are scoring over 2.5. So AJ and I both came away with at least half a win for AJ in that one. So that was nice. I had Juventus Leon most goals in the second half was a loss. To 2 penalties kind of killed me, and I thought even if we got away with just 1 goal in the first half, we had a chance. But both penalties went against me. Man U halftime, full time, another loss. Man U looked terrible. And then the last loss was today, Atletico Madrid money line. But like I was talking with AJ, I think last stream I said my initial reaction was to play the draw. Both teams love drawing. So I am not too upset that Leipzig won and I didn't miss out on playing the draw. So, but look to bounce back this week for sure.
All right, to get into this week's plays, we each got a multiple coming at you. My first one's going to be in the Europa League. I'm sitting out the Champions League. My lean was going to play Barcelona in some sort of fashion, but just going to stay off it, enjoy the 2 Champions League matches, and dive right into the Europa League. So I got a parlay coming at you to start. I got Inter Milan money line and Man U to advance at plus 213. You can see whether I'm more confident at and which is the weaker club. But given where we need this to go to, and I think FIFA will definitely have a little sneaky hand in this, get the 2 much bigger clubs than the 2 there. Get them in the Europa League final. You got a quote-unquote old Man U versus the new Man U, but we got 2 players for Man U in our club. So, but yeah, I just like Inter's chances and Man U's chances to advance just being the better clubs. Inter is in full time. Man U can go to the extra time to cash that. So I got that at plus 213. Love to see when I get the plus money and it's over 2. So got to ride that out, just thinking the better clubs win. Maybe it's a little bit square, but that's where I'm going with my first play.
Yeah, you had 1 square parlay earlier in the stream. I think it was about maybe a month and a half ago that cashed with ease. So Rex and his parlays work out pretty well. And like you mentioned, the 2 bigger clubs, I think people would much rather see United Inter versus Sevilla Shakhtar Donetsk. Just a little gut feeling there. But moving on to my first play, since we're talking about Europa League, I guess I'll give my Europa League play first. It's Inter Milan Shakhtar over 2.75 goals. And I think we mentioned it before, Shakhtar only knows how to go one way. Inter have some Swiss cheese in the back, and they also score goals. I could see this. I personally see this one skying over a 3-1, 4-2 sort of deal. I just expect goals.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 plays in Europa, but I mean, I'm on the same thing. Inter Shakhtar over 2.75. This may be the game like Bayern and Barca. Everyone's going to bet the over, but it's going to end up 1-0. I think the only way we see that is if Inter gets an early goal and just sit back and defend. But I would be really shocked to see Shakhtar in this game with no goals. So, I mean, I think 3-1, 4-2, maybe even, I guess not 2-2. I think Inter wins. But yeah, I think 3-1 is a pretty good bet here. Also, part of Rex's parlay, Inter money line, I think is right around minus 130. I thought about that one just because they're a much higher class team. They look motivated, determined. So that's another a good lean. But if you don't want the parlay, the Inter money line by itself is a pretty good bet.
Yeah, and just to add on to that over, when I was looking at this, I like to look at the implied probabilities, projected goals, and right now, the implied probability of the books is giving it around the 58 to 60% chance of where the line sits. Info Goals and 538, which are two sites I like to use. If you combine their averages, they're giving you close between 70 and 75% of where and over 2.5 or 2.75, knock it off a little bit, put it down to the 60s, but you're getting about 10% of value backing that over. So that's definitely an angle that I was looking to play. But since I like the money line a little bit better, that's why I stayed off that one.
Yeah, I think even the Ukrainian side, Shakhtar, they even in the Ukrainian league where they're the best team and kind of outclass everyone, they still win games like 3-2, 4-2. Like they still just score goals and attack in that league, even in their domestic league. They just overpower everybody, and I think you even saw that in the Champions League when they're in the group stage against Zagreb and Man City and Atalanta. They had met, like, I think Zagreb, they had a 3-3 game. I think almost every game they played in the Champions League, and even in the knockout stages of Europa when they were in there, I think they played a 3-3 game against Benfica. So these games tend to go over with Shakhtar, and I think it's a good trend to back, not to blindly back the trend, but play style I think plays a lot into this too. So.
Yep. So for my next play, my two fellows, they both are staying in the Champions League or Europa League for their next one. I'm getting a little down and dirty, going to Serie B for my next two plays. So if you don't know these teams' names, can't blame me for that. But like my Serie B, so the first one is Perugia versus Pescara. This is the relegation match. So this is sitting at Pescara 2-1. We're heading into the second leg. Perugia is home. This is where I like the over 2.25 at even. The last time I played an over 2 or 2.5, I got burned playing it at even. But given that Perugia got the away goal, Pescara needs to get an away goal here because if Perugia wins at home 1-0, it's going to extra time due to that. So that's where, just given its situation, and Pescara on the road has given up 32 goals, which is second worst in Serie B, and Perugia was completely even. Finding XG stats on Serie B is a little bit more difficult, but I was able to find it, and I like Perugia's ability to score, so I think we see 1-1 at worst, and that gets me a half win. I would hate to get a half loss, so wouldn't like that, but I like this chances playing to stay up in Serie B and not fall into Serie C and fall into bankruptcy probably. I like the over 2.25 here at even.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add because I personally don't deep dive into the Serie B stats. But I can tell you one thing is Rex gets down and dirty. If you guys have been following us, his English Championship plays, we're cashing like nothing. So I do trust him on the Serie B. And if you're looking for some Italian soccer, do you know when that match is?
Tomorrow. So
Perfect.
Get it right there and early.
Perfect. So if you look at some Friday Italian soccer, there you go. But for me, like Rex mentioned, Joey B and I are normal, so we stick in the Champions League and Europa League. So my next one is a Champions League pick. I'm backing Bayern Munich minus 105 on the money line. I think this is just a short line for the best team in the world. One angle or one thing that I really like about Bayern heading into this match is they're 5 in the midfield. I look for that to overpower Barcelona plays like a 4-3-3. Just dominate the midfield. You have arguably who should have won the Ballon d'Or up top in Robert Lewandowski. And there is some, not necessarily bad blood, but revenge angle for Bayern. If you guys haven't seen, there's an iconic photo of Messi chipping Neuer. And I know there is just, Rex mentioned how Messi's going to be like Jordan and have the Alphonso Davies quote in the locker room, but you best believe Bayern Munich are coming out firing.
Yeah, I definitely think if you can get the best team in the world at a minus 105 against, say, one of Barcelona's, not one of their worst teams, but not the normal Barcelona, they're definitely missing talent. I think you got to take it. I do like the bet. I think even with Messi, Bayern can kind of just their physicality, I think, will be able to shut them down a little bit and keep them quiet. And then on Rex's play, I think it is the second leg of a relegation battle. And I think those, both in the championship or across Europe, the second leg always tends to go over a little more open, less cautious, especially with one team needing to score. So just another situation I think that really lends itself to backing the over. But my second bet, I'm going against Rex's parlay and against AJ's Man U team. But I am Sevilla to advance plus 105. So similar to Rex backing you to advance. It doesn't matter what happens in 90 minutes. They can go to PKs and win, and I'd still win my bet. So as long as we end up in the final, I'd win my bet. I just think Man U could win this game 2-0, 3-0, just with their dominant lineup and how strong their offensive attack is. But I think the way Sevilla is playing, they have they have a ton of talent. They have Ocampos and Banega and Regulion, I think is Sergio Regulion. Regulion has been rumored. I don't know if he's I think he's on loan from Real, and I think he's going back there after this tournament. So he's a world-class player, one of the best. I think he's a right back or left back. I think he's the right back, but he's one of the better players on Sevilla. I think their defense is very well connected. They play good defense. And then set pieces, I think, are their strong suit. That's how they scored against Wolves. I think they get one or two against Man U off a set piece, and that should be enough for them to advance. And with a plus 105, I think I had to take it.
Yeah, I personally, emotionally, I don't like that you're not backing United. However, I can't not say it's a smart pick. United just haven't looked that great. We struggle on set pieces, and Sevilla know how to beat us. So it's just a formula for a good pick.
All right, for my final pick of the weekend, this one's on Sunday. You got Spiezia going up against Frosinone. Frosinone was in Serie A last year. Spiezia was not. But given the roster talent, Frosinone does have an American on it, so was a little bit biased there. But I'm going with the Spiezia pick at plus 125. Clearly just from Spiezia just being the more talented team. This is two legs, so Spiezia is the road team here. And with the road teams and the away goal, I think this match ends right at 1-1, potentially 1-0 or 2-1 to Spiezia's favor. So that's why I'm taking the pick. Because if you're a road team in the first leg and you get that goal, that's what you need to do. Take it home, finish it off. I think Spiezia goes up. It's kind of like the English Championship playoffs. This is their version of it. 8 teams get in instead of 4 because it's Italy. I don't know why. But, yeah, I'm going to take the Spiezia pick at plus 125.
Yeah, like I said, another league that I don't know too much about, but Rex is good with these things. But this week, I only had 2 picks, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Joey B.
Yeah, I've got my last pick. We talked about it, Man City. I do want your guys' input. I do have a feeling of which way I want to go, but Man City either minus 1.5 at minus 130, or would you guys like taking like the minus 1.75 at plus 105? I would lean towards the minus 1.75, especially I think City could win this game by 3, and I'd be happy with that plus price. But at the worst, I think they win by 2 and I get a half win. I don't know what you guys tend to do in those situations. I think if I expected the game to be close, I'd play the minus 130 and lay the juice. But with the plus price at minus 1.75, I think was going to go with that one to kind of try to get a full win.
The way I would approach this is just my personal philosophy. It's not right, not wrong. You see guys play juicier lines, but between minus 130 to minus 150 is where I stop playing lines straight. So you're right on the border of that. If you're confident that they win by 2, then you play that minus 130. But if you're more worried about if it potentially is a 1-goal win and you want to have less skin in the game, take the minus 1.75 because you're getting that plus 105. I think this line definitely steams as we get closer to the match day. So that minus 1.75 at plus 105 is probably going to flip and go minus 105. So it's just more preference of style there. I would go the minus 1.75 in this situation because I agree with you. I think City robs Lyon. rather just play the over than back City. But yeah, City could easily cover it on their own. That's why I like the over. That's why I'd lean the over 3 and going to look to play live.
Yeah.
For me personally,
go for it.
For me personally, I don't mind paying that little extra juice. I'm not too much of a big fan of half win, half losses, and that's just me personally. I've been jibbed out of a couple of units on it, but like I said, I just pay the juice. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think if it was a regular game, like a league game, I think I'd lean towards the -1.5. But with it being one single elimination knockout game, City only needs to win by 1 goal. That's where I'd kind of stay away from that heavy juice. So if they win by 1 goal, it'd be a much worse loss than just a plus price. So.
If you're calling -130 heavy juice, man, Twitter cappers, look the fuck out because you love to see that -150 or greater on those plays.
I do a high juice for us, I feel like. So.
Mm-hmm.
With other sports, I would be way more into that -130. College football and college basketball, I do that more often with money lines. But yeah, with soccer and how variable it is, always you're saving 35 cents there for essentially the same play. So that's where I would lean the +105. But you do what you want to do, and all of our followers and listeners, you play however you want to play it.
I think that confirms my I guess lean towards the -1.75. I'll take that plus price.
Well, I'll wrap it up for this week. As usual, the AR Soccer Show is brought to you by thebreakdownsports.com. Joey B's got his Champions League article out there, so if you want to check it out for the final 2 matches in there, definitely give that a read. We got some baseball, NHL, basketball articles coming at you. We got an NBA stream coming at you tonight, talking about the games tomorrow, talking about the first round of the bubble. We'll probably get NBA After Dark in there as usual, so you never know what could potentially happen on that NBA stream if you've been there before. But as usual, hope you guys all have a good weekend. Enjoy some nice footy in the Champions League, Europa League, and MLS. Can never leave them out. Maybe that's why I like my championship in Serie B sometimes, because I'm an MLS junkie. But I'm Rex. You can follow me on Twitter at reast_easy with a Z.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you guys for watching. You guys can follow me on Twitter at _VADUKUL. I love to talk all sports, and I'm up on the West Coast, so I'm also here for After Dark talks.
Yeah, it was I think I butchered Rex's Twitter handle last weekend. I tried to give him it off the top of my head and was just I was close. I thought it was Rest Easy, not our East Easy, but I was close. You can follow me at _Joey B. One thing I forgot or Joey B23 _Joey B23. I don't know. I'm all messed up now. One thing I forgot to mention is the Champions League qualifying games, the preliminary games, are starting up again. A bunch of nobodies playing each other, but I did see there's a Celtic, the Scottish side plays in the game. So it's funny. One season's ending for the Champions League and the other one starts up. So something to watch out for and look for. And
Word. So we'll see you guys next Thursday. Have a good one and enjoy some European Championship leagues.